One thing that continues on is the struggles for Adley Rutschman. And I understand maybe that's because of it carried over from the second half of 2024. You thought he was back on opening weekend, and then he's been having a tough time. Now, Adley, it's a big reason why the Orioles got the W against the Brewers in the finale in extra innings. A little cut piece. I'd like to think of it as just a slider slurve. Left up. Ball left the yard in a hurry. 3-run jack. Orioles win the game. Adley gets 2 hits. Really great to see. But a lot of people are putting a lot of criticism on the former number 1 overall pick back in 2019. And they're saying, well, what the hell's happening? Is this the guy you want for the future? Well, we talked to Buck Showalter yesterday. And Buck Showalter, well, he not only gave some advice when he had a top catcher that was on his roster in Baltimore years back. He also gave us an opinion on what he thinks of Adley Rutschman. So let's play that clip for you guys.
Everybody, and I remember a conversation I had with Wieters when I first got there because there was a little bit of hazing by some bad veterans, different stuff. And I called Matty and I said, Matty, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go catch. I want you to be the big kahuna here. And I got your back. All this stuff with some of these veterans, they're not going to be here. And I just want you to go catch. I said, I did the same thing with Lindor. I don't need you to be the spokesman for the team. I don't need you to be the guy who gets on his teammates. I need you to go play shortstop. And everything else takes care of itself. Adley's a smart guy. I love the way he carries himself. And I know if I was with another club, if they're not happy with him, let me know. I think he's going to be fine, and the stuff that catchers go through. But sometimes, it's a what have you done for me lately world. That sophomore year and junior year after your freshman year when everything's coming up roses, it's a challenge. But if you can get through it, Ryan, if you can get through it, it's going to be so important for you as your career goes forward, and he'll get through it.
So there's Buck Showalter about his feelings on Adley, but you heard the first part. Matt Wieters was the 2nd overall pick, and he was supposed to be the greatest thing. He was possibly going to be that all-star Hall of Fame trajectory, but this is also a good reminder that you never know who's going to pan out. And enough of the Matt Wieters slander because he had a great career. 2009 to 2020 as an MLB backstop playing the catching position.
Yeah.
And for the Orioles, he had 4 straight seasons of hitting 22 or more jacks. And his thing was known for his defense. He helped command a pitching staff and grew into his own as the Orioles came into some great years.
He really became a true leader.
Yeah, in 2012 to 2016 when the Orioles, things were going well. But for Wieters, though, I love that Buck's saying, hey, I just want you to focus on what you have to do. I want you to focus on catching. And then you heard him talk about Francisco Lindor. When Lindor got to the Mets, there's a lot of kind of chaos. And yes, Lindor has turned into a leader over time, the last couple of years especially. But when Buck was there, he said, I don't want you to worry about handling all of the pressures, be the spokesperson. Just go play shortstop for us, and you're going to figure it out. He wants to see that with Adley Rutschman, and I do too. I don't need to see Adley be the rah-rah face and talk about it. It would be nice to hear from him at times more, but I want Adley just to focus on getting back on track. Focus on what you can do, because let's just face it, Zach, a Adley Rutschman that we've seen, the skills are there. But the biggest battle for right now for Adley Rutschman is battling with Adley Rutschman.
Yeah, it's the mental side. We've seen Adley through the years, even starting when he was in the minors, he has been that kind of model of consistency. He was always the best player on the team. He was always the leader. And he was kind of tasked with this pressure of once he came up was when the tide kind of turned in Baltimore. They go on that run after he gets called up, after they had been very poor the few prior years, and even early on in that season. Suddenly, more guys come up. You go from, this young guy on the team to now even though you're still a young guy, he was seen as the veteran guy, as the leader of the team. And that's a lot, especially once you start struggling. And, like Buck has talked about, yesterday a lot. For a lot of these guys, this is their first time struggling. So it's that mental aspect of getting over the hump. Are there things that I think physically, maybe there's something in Adley's swing here and there, we've talked about when you've broke it down. Yes. So there are going to be more physical things as well, but it all starts with the mental side of it, getting that confidence back, because we've seen Adley when he's at his best, when all things are going well, he can be the best catcher in baseball. It's not a discussion. When he's going well, he is a top 3 catcher in baseball, and it's not an argument.
No doubt about it. And I think that's where people get caught up, right? And because in 22, he was looked at as the savior. Oh, he's here. The Orioles are playing well, and they did. And the correlation was there when you brought up Adley. But then when there was some other struggles and adversity, the middle part of 2024, and you're banged up and your backs are against the wall, and then who knows what contract extension talks could or couldn't be happening. A lot of other things can be going through your mind. And then you're going into this year where there's more expected from you. Whammy, then you're going to go through some tough times, but it's a reminder. We are only in May. It's May 22nd as we record this podcast here. So I think it would be a good experiment while we're talking about this, since we just talked about Matt Wieters and his career. Brad, I'm going to ask you a question here, and I want you to think, or I want you to give me your take here. You're going to be my test dummy.
All right.
So thank you. So Matt Wieters, okay.
Not really a stretch. Emphasis on the dummy.
Yeah. So average, and let's just say OPS.
Yeah.
We'll do the two. We'll start. What do you think Matt Wieters' career average was as a big leaguer?
260 something.
I like the optimist in you, but no, 249.
Okay. That wasn't that far off.
No, it wasn't, but good context. So now that you have the average, what do you think his OPS was?
Given the average, probably like 650, 700.
722.
Okay.
And he had 4 straight years from 2010 to 2013 where he had 20 or more home runs. He never had more than 83 RBIs in any season. He only did that once. Every other year, his numbers mainly fluctuated between the 40s into the high 60s for RBIs. Okay. Now let's go to Adley Rutschman so far through 3 seasons and change. Let's start with average. Adley Rutschman average. What do you think right now, Brad?
Adley's career average right now?
Career average.
260.
Close. 257. Now OPS.
OPS is 710.
762.
Okay.
So his numbers through the first 3 years are actually solid.
Well, let me play devil's advocate
of course.
on this. So was Matt Wieters ever a top prospect in the organization?
I mean, he was the guy.
I mean, equivalent to Adley expectations.
Oh, he had more. They haven't made comparisons about anybody catching wise since Matt Wieters.
Yeah.
Like Adley, it was Joe Mauer, I believe, Matt Wieters, and then Matt Wieters now to Adley Rutschman was supposed to be a better Matt Wieters and somewhere like a Joe Mauer, Buster Posey. So if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the expectation's there.
Yeah.
So the expectation's been there. I just wanted to point out the context of it. Even the first 2 years of Matt Wieters' career, 753 OPS, 695. Adley, his first 2 years, 806, 809. The bigger difference between Wieters and Adley is Wieters is considered a better defensive catcher.
I was just about to go there. Yeah.
But
calling the game, that sort of thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I think, but even like he had a cannon for an arm too. So the point I wanted to throw out here is the catching position is really, it's hard, and like, this isn't saying that there isn't mistakes that Adley's made. I told you there's certain things I wonder on the pitch selection and the calling of the game. That's number one. But when you're a catcher, you are physically getting banged up more than anybody else. I think of all the catchers that are left in the game today, Salvador Perez is the one where I sit there and go, damn, the longevity that he's had, the production that he's had over his career, it's been impressive. But for catchers in general, you're going to take your lumps. Adley Rutschman is taking his lumps. And on top of it, now you're on a team where you're facing the most struggles. And currently, as we said, he's hitting 213, 5 home runs on the season, OPS at 659, the lowest so far in his career.
He's also under a lot of pressure when you consider that there's 2 absolute studs as far as catchers are concerned in the farm system as well.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody talks about Sam Basayo, but like there's more than just Sam as well. So it's almost kind of like from a fan's perspective, you're like, okay, Adley's not doing well. He hasn't been doing well really since the middle of last season. Below average numbers, defensively not there either. So like why don't we give this guy, the next guy a shot? Sam Basayo obviously has 7-8 home runs already this season, and is like, and that's with him being injured earlier on too. So like, I think there's a lot of people asking those questions. Do you think they're valid or no?
I think it's understandable to want to have questions now because of who's behind you and what Sam Basayo could become, but it doesn't take away from what Adley Rutschman has done and what he can still do. The biggest question for Adley is, how long do you catch for? Is it for 3 years? Is it for 5 years?
Yeah.
Do you make the jump back here? If Adley, which I'm buying that Adley's going to get his average up and the numbers are going to rise for the season, but then what's going to be the floor? What's the ceiling for him? Sam Basayo's ceiling is extremely high.
Yes.
But we don't know the floor then, what Sam Basayo could be. But for Adley, he's going to be a piece, and he needs to be a piece for this team. When he plays well, the Orioles typically play pretty well.